Hello, today we're going to continue working on area model, but before we started area model, for those of you at home, you should have had a paper like this in your last Friday's take-home things, and you need to work on your division practice. You get 5 minutes, no more. The idea is to learn how to do this fluently. That means that you're doing it fairly quick. So we figured out that if we have 18 problems on this page, and we use 3 seconds per problem, that's only 54 seconds. So you're getting 5 minutes. It gives you a lot more time. Okay, so if you've not done this, do this already. If you don't have this paper, nicely message your teacher saying that you need it, and we can send it home to you on Friday. Okay, so we are working with multiplication because I told you you're going to have homework tonight. You're going to teach your parents how to do this. So make certain that everybody around you is paying attention and that their books are put away. Some of you are readers and you'd rather be reading, or you just have a good book. But we have to do some practicing. Today's focus is going to be on, as I call them, 2x2s, 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication. But before we can do that, we really should practice with 1 digit. Make certain you have a notebook page open. We're going to call it our practice page. And we're going to put today's date, 16th. And we're going to start out by practicing. Like I said, we're going to practice using a 1 digit by a 2 digit. So let's think about 7 times 34. So since we can't do 7 times 34 very easily in our heads, some of you have started to figure this out, but most of us can't do that very well in our head. We're going to use area model to solve it. And 34 is a large number. So how can we break 34 into a number that's easier for us to multiply? Millie?
30 plus 4.
30 plus 4. Now we really want our rectangles, since we're figuring area, it's like figuring the size of the room and how many tiles you would need in your room. Since we're having a 7 times 34, realistically we'd have a long skinny box. But it's kind of hard to get all that kind of writing done in one, so ours isn't going to quite be in proportion, but at least we can have some proportion. I'm going to put my 34 on top. Although I could arrange it like this, where I can have 30 and 4, and I can put the 7 here. I can do it either way. It doesn't matter. It's just I do it this way because I can get more problems on one page. I have my factors. How do I arrange my factors around my box? Thank you, Phoenix.
7 on the side.
7 on the side. Okay, so I got this one done. Yes, Phoenix?
30 on the top right.
Okay. Am I done?
And then put the 4 in the top.
Okay. I kind of spread them apart. And just to make certain I've got my correct factors. Okay, so 30 plus 4 is what? Everybody?
34.
34. So I know, okay, here's this factor, here's this, here it is. You see where these are coming from. Some of you are doing a great job of checking what you're doing according to what's showing up on our board. That's good. So here we have the 30, here's the 4. Okay, so we're going to do it in 2 steps. Since we're doing it in 2 steps, I'm going to do the first step, then I'm going to do the second step. I'm going to say it again for those of you who are busy writing and are now looking at the board. This is going to be my first step. This is going to be my second step. What am I multiplying in this part of my rectangle, Luke?
7 times 30.
Okay, so Luke says we are multiplying 7 times 30. What am I multiplying in this part of my rectangle, Luke? 7 times 4. I want you now to touch the 30 and touch the 30 above it so you know where they are. I know some of you know how to do this frontwards, backwards, upside down, all that, but you're still going to do this with us. So touch your 30s, touch where the 4 is. Do the same with your 7s. Do you see how the 7 has been distributed between the 2 boxes? I know sometimes I talk about doing our distributing our 34 into its tens and ones. We can also call that decomposing. But here we are truly distributing. We're sevens with both of these. Okay, which is the easy one to do first?
7 times.
Okay, David, what do you think is the easiest one to do first?
7 times 30.
Okay, why 7 times 30?
Because danger, you can do 7 times 3 and then add the 0 back.
Okay, so we got to do that correctly, correct?
Yep, so 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and then add the 0 back.
Be careful with adding the 0 back.
Oh, I know how to explain
How do we explain it? Yes, sir.
So 7 times 3 is 21. Then that means since we took away the tens, now we have to put the tens back, so 21 times is 210.
Look at what I did again. This is what David's doing in his head, but he's just saying put the 0 back. So David's doing this 3 right here. 7 times 3 is 21, but now we have to do our times 10. So 21 tens. The reason I want you to be so very, very careful of this about saying adding a 0 is when you get into 5th grade and you're multiplying decimals times 10, adding a 0 is going to make your answer wrong. So you have to understand what you're doing. Okay, then this one. 7 times 4 is what, everybody? 28. Let's add this together.
238.
238. How about that? No regrouping even. Let's try this next one on your own, and then I'm going to have someone come over and explain how they did it, but you're going to work it all out here first. Let's do 6 times, let's do 38. 6 times 38. You're going to work this through on your own. People at home, I'm going to pause the video while the kids here work. Okay, so going through the process of this. David wants to work this through. So he's going to actually write in my notebook. And he's going to explain what he did as he did it. As I was helping students in class, a lot of you are getting the hang of it. So he's drawing his rectangle. Okay, where did the 30 and the 8 come from?
38.
Okay. Where did your 6 come from? Okay, there we go. So now we know, and you don't have to do the step that David just did because he's doing it in his head. And if you can do it in your head, you don't have to do this process. But remember with the 30 breaks down some more into 3 times 10. If it is too hard to do 30, you can do 10 plus 10 plus 10, but that gives you 3 numbers to add. And there's more chances of making mistakes then. Oh, don't you hate to do math in front of a crowd? It's spooky. And if you're a person that doesn't know your math facts, remember on page 18 of your workbook is the multiplication chart.
I just wanted to do that extra.
So he's just doing the thought process in his head. Now remember that with place value, people whispering in the front table, Will and Tucker, This is the ones column. These are the tens. These are the 100s. So even as we're thinking of them as single digits, we need to understand what those numbers represent. Now I have a question for you. What if I chose to do my multiplication like this? Am I wrong?
No, it's the same thing.
Very good. It is the same thing. Just like the answers that David came up with the partial products. It's just in a different order. As long as whatever you're doing works for you. I'm glad to see that many of you are feeling fairly good about this area model. So now we need to move on to the type of assignment you're going to have, and that's going to be 2-digit by 2-digit. I do have some larger 2-digit numbers on the board. Your assignment is not going to be a large number, but let's do some practicing first. Yes, sir.
For all the answers, I added them up and I got it.
Okay, we're not moving fast enough for some students, and they're finding more computations to do. Let's start out with fairly small double-digit numbers to work with. So let's start out with 14 times 17. Since we can't do 14 times 17 very easily in our head, I'm not saying it's impossible, but since we can't do it very easily in our head, let's think about how we can break these numbers apart to make it easier to do. I know David really, really wants to do this again. So David, because like I tell you, if you practice this in class, in front of everybody, you learn it faster and better. Because when you're put on the spot, for some reason, your brain kicks in. Okay, look at, oh my goodness, he's just going to town on this. No, this looks more like a 0. Okay, okay, David, let our brains catch up. I see some people are looking at the board. Thank you. Some of you are not, unfortunately. Where did you get all these numbers from? You've got 4 numbers and we started with 2.
I decomposed this into a 10 and a 4, where I got the 10 and 4. And then I decomposed the 17 into a 10 and a 7, which is where I got this up here. So
Okay.
17, and this would be 14.
Okay, so he knows he's got the correct factors. What do we do now?
Do 10 times 10.
Everybody knows what 10 times 10 is, right? What is it?
100.
Oh, because we have practiced that so many times, we have it memorized.
And then do 10 times 70,
10 times 7.
or 10 times 7.
Oh, you do the same things I do. You jump to the answer before you got it written down. Oh, good. It's nice to know other students do that too. Okay.
And then I kind of forgot what to do here.
Okay. So,
I just sort of.
okay. So remember, I'm going to show
I
you.
think I do 4 times 70.
Okay. Now watch how I do this. Here's this number. Here's this number. Oh, you can't see. Here's my 10. Here's my 4. Like a multiplication chart, they meet in this box. Yeah, just like a multiplication chart.
And then add these together.
Okay, wait. Multiplication chart. Put your finger on your factors. Oh, those are products. Factor and factor. Where do they meet? So what 2 factors are you multiplying together?
7 times 4.
It is. You have just learned a whole bunch right now, didn't you?
Yeah. Wow, embarrassing.
Okay.
Then I'll add all this together.
It's scary doing this all doing math in front of people. And I'm happy that your classmates are very nice about this.
Yeah, sometimes I get.
Oh, you're not the only one.
I think that's all of them.
Okay, so let's count, let's make certain we find all of our partial products. So circle your 100. Find your 100 up in your room. I've sent you to your room.
And then there's
28. Found it in the rectangle.
70.
Found that. Okay, did all the parts?
40.
Yeah, you can just put 40 down here and continue the adding.
Okay. So then that would add it to 238.
Okay, so it's 238.
And whenever I do quick math like that for this, I always think of doing 9 minus 1. Or like 9. And then I go to 10. And then that subtracts 1 from here. And I know that's 30.
Okay, so you're thinking about how you can use a 10 to find out 1 less.
Yes.
Okay. That is a strategy we actually cover in Unit 4. So you remember that from last year in 3rd grade?
Yep.
Okay, good. Again,
Found it out on my own.
how many of you, where's my highlighter? Don't have a highlighter, but I got a yellow marker. How many of you have learned what to do with this box? Remember, I say that one's the worst. Because here, we gotta multiply those two numbers to get that spot. Okay, let's do it again. Here we go. I'm gonna ask someone, I know that you're getting good, who wants to learn, like, Marshall's gonna be next on this. Marshall's gonna work this through with everybody in front. We're going to do 16 times 23 this time. Marshall, come on over. Marshall is going to work on this. I know some of you finish this very quickly, and as Marshall is talking to the class, I'm going to give you a more difficult one to work on. Okay, so Marshall's gonna start working. So we have it broken into 10s and 1s. Okay.
Whoops.
Just make it into a 2. That happens. It's scary when you're in front of the camera.
It's just, I saw the 10 here. So.
Yeah. I'm glad you were double checking. What did David do to make certain that he had his numbers correct?
Okay, I'll do that.
Let's see if he can remember what you did. Remember what David did with his factors? To make certain he had the factors correct. Okay, so what factor is that one? Okay, good. I see a 23 in our original problem. Okay, good. I see a 16 in our original problem. Eventually, you won't need to do this. You'll have the procedure so down, you won't have to do that anymore. We have 20 10s. You can count by 10s if you want. Let Marshall do all your work. You guys start working on it, so you can get that answer before he does. Remember, it's scary in front of the camera.
I was gonna do it. I would have already done it. I did all the answers for
Okay, so Marshall's got the first box figured out. Did he beat you?
No.
Okay.
Yes. Some of us.
Uh-oh, careful. Remember, multiplication chart, like that. The 3 meets what number?
10.
3 meets the 10. There you go.
There.
Okay, so he's got 2 of the 4 boxes figured out.
I would have had it finished, but then I thought we were supposed to do 80 times 28, so I gave up on it.
Yep. Okay, now we need 6 20s.
Yeah, sometimes just adding the anyway.
Okay, here's the danger box. Do you remember where you get your factors? Yep, he remembered. Okay, so he's got his 4 partial products, and now he has to add up all 4 partial products. Eventually, you won't even have to circle them because you will be so used to having to deal with these 4 numbers. Actually, I have to give you something to practice on. How many of you are feeling better about this now? How many of you think that you have a fairly good chance of doing it right, showing mom and dad? Okay. How many of you want me to put a little note on your homework saying that you're going to try and maybe you will get it, maybe you won't? I can do that.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
We have little jokes going on in here. Okay. Do you feel better doing this now? Okay.
Now I want to do it with my parents.
Now you want to do it with your parents. Okay, I'm going to
I
show.
was kind of nervous to do it.
Okay, Marshall was saying he was a little nervous having to do it with his parents. I think that's why you wanted to do it in class. Okay, so people at home already have a paper that looks like this. People in class are going to get something like this to do some practice on. This is practice. They're going to try to get this done later, but this is not your parents' homework or your homework. I don't know if you can handle this whole big piece of paper here, people. So those of you at home, those of you here, this is what your assignment is. I'm going to zoom in on it. First of all, you have to put your name, because otherwise I don't know who you are. It says math assignment due Friday. It's going to say use the area model to solve 17 times 28. See, it's not real big numbers. Down on the bottom, this is what your parents, and then this is the area you use. On the bottom here, it's going to say my student tried to show me how to do it using the area model, which means if you didn't get it, well, at least you tried. The idea is you get credit if you tried. And then here it is. They showed me how to do it. Again, you get credit if you tried and you got it right. Yay. If you tried and you got it wrong, well, at least you tried. And then your parents will sign it. So if you're a person who needs me to make a little note that you're still learning and it's a little hard, I can do that. If you're a person who thinks that I need to completely send the procedure home so that way your parents know what's going on, I can do that too. But you still are going to go home and show your parents this, and they're going to go, why do you got to do that? Okay, the reason for why you got to do that. You're developing something called number sense. You're developing an idea of how numbers work. Instead of how Miss Elizabeth and I were taught in school, we were told to do it because the teacher said so. If there was another way to do it that we could do it better, if it wasn't the teacher's way, it was wrong. And that is not the type of thinking we want in this day and age. We want you to be able to think in many different ways. So this shows how to find the answer and what each step means. We don't keep doing this. By the end of the year, you're going to be doing standard algorithm like your parents. But this is the first step. I remember Luke saying something earlier in the year when we were talking about regrouping. He knows how to regroup, but he doesn't know why you do it. You just do it because you were told to do it. That's why we do this. Yes?
I have a question.
Sure.
Is area model possible to do when you have 100?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It starts to get to be a lot of stuff, but once you develop the ability to do area model, and it's really, really, really easy, you're ready for the next step. Remember on Monday I showed you how close the area model is to actual standard algorithm like your parents do?
Oh, yeah.
It's very close to it. It's just that this way you can understand visually why it works. Okay, so that's all we're doing for today. Good luck, everyone. People at home, when you get this done, snap a picture, send it to your teachers. Your teachers want to see it. Okay, we'll talk to you again.
Bye!